All right, the concrete question. Concrete can be purchased by the cubic yard. How much will it cost to pour a slab that is 17 feet by 17 feet by 3 inches for a patio if the concrete costs 56 per cubic yard? So we got a bunch of things going on here, but the main thing you have to understand is really this is a dimensional analysis problem because we're paying by the cubic yard, but we have inches deep and we have feet lengthwise. So we could sketch this out pretty roughly. You'd have something like, some square of concrete that we now know is 17 by 17, and it has some height that we know is 3 inches. Well, none of these measurements are useful to us if our price is in cubic yards, because when we go to find the volume of this, we need to have a volume in cubic yards, which means we need to have distances in yards. So we need to convert all of these measurements to yards. That's really not that hard to do because we all should know a correlation between feet and yards. So I'll ask, what do you know about yards? Well, you should know that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. And then what do you know about feet in the context of this problem? You know that you have 17 feet on each side. Well, feet cancel out, so you must have 17/3 of a yard. And you could just leave it as a fraction, or you can plug in your calculator to get decimal. It doesn't really matter. So this 17 feet is the same thing as 17/3 yards. Same thing here. This is 17/3 yards. Okay, well, what about inches? Well, again, there's a few ways to do this. Maybe you know how many inches are in a yard, but let's say you don't. Well, you do know that there's 1 yard and 3 feet. And you happen to know that for every 1 foot, there's 12 inches. And the context of this problem says that you have 3 inches. So inches cancel out, feet cancel out. And really, the 3's would cancel out in this situation as well. So really, you would have 1/12 of a yard. Okay, so instead of 3 inches, we could say, hey, this is the same thing as 1/12 of a yard. Well, now we know that this is really just a rectangular prism, or actually a square prism. So we can just calculate its volume by doing length times width times height. All right? One of the ways that we can calculate volume is length times width times height. Well, the length is 17/3. The width is also 17/3, and the height is 1/12. And this is all in yards, so this is yards cubed, because we have yard times yard times yard, or cubic yards. Well, at this point, I would just go ahead and go to the calculator and see what you get. So let's plug this into the calculator. Okay, if you got a calculator that can do fractions, you'll get that's 289 over 108. But this is really what we care about, is the decimal answer here, because we got 2.6759 cubic yards. But again, that's not the question. The question's saying how much will it cost, right? How much will it cost if it's 56 per cubic yard? Well, that's actually not that hard either, because this is really just dimensional analysis again, but now with money. So I'm going to just give me a little bit of space here. So, well, what do I know about dollars? Well, in the context of this problem, I know that $56 is equal to 1 cubic yard, right? Because it's $56 per cubic yard. And we just found out that I have 2.6759 cubic yards. Well, cubic yards are going to cancel out. So really all you have to do is multiply these two things. So again, we just go to our calculator, times that number that we had by 56, and we get that this will be $149.85. So we're looking for the answer that's closest to that. Just dimensional analysis. What do you know about yards and feet? What do you know about yards and inches? And so on. And lastly, what do you know about cubic yards and the price per cubic yard? All right? See you guys on the next video.